So guys, this is the last question. Very glad you guys made it here. So if you're not subscribed already, make sure you do that. It's really important that you're subscribed. So do that really quick so we can discuss more often next week and even in the future. Alright, so now let's continue with this. So the question says, please pay attention to this question because it is very important, and majority of people will tell you that this question is very difficult, but it's not. It's very easy actually. All you need to do is just understand the concept. So any question that comes like this, you will be able to ace it. So look at it. Says, in how many ways can 4-digit numbers, like these 4-digit numbers here, greater than 3000 be formed? So these 4-digit numbers, so we have, let's say, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So these 4-digit numbers, they need to be greater than 3000. So let's say 3001, 3002, 4000, like that, be formed using the digits, all these numbers here. So we are limited to using all these numbers here. So the first one is repetition is allowed. So let's do some first. Ignore this one first. Alright guys, so these are the 4-digit numbers. So the question says the 4-digit number. So we need 4-digit numbers that are greater than 3000, and we are limited to using only these ones here. So that means we can get 3001, 3002, 4000. Those are the numbers that are allowed when repetition is allowed. So if that is true, it means that we need to start from 3. That means the first digit here has to be 3, right? 3001, for example. So meaning that we cannot pick 0 and 1 because 0 and 1 is less than 3. So we need to pick from 3, 4 and 5. So we are left with how many options? 1, 2, 3. Since it has to be 3000 and above, we can only pick 3, 4 and 5 because the first digit here has to be 3. So we are only limited to picking 3, 4 and 5. So this is what we can choose for the first digit. So if you can only pick 3, 4 and 5, it means that the first digit will be 3. So we are left with only 3 choices. 1, 2, 3. So the first number in any order can be 3, can be 4, it can be 5. So this is 3 here. Now let's move on to the second, third and fourth. So now we've decided that we have 3 choices. Now if we pick 3 choices, it means that the next numbers, it can be 3000, 3000. So the next numbers here can be 0, 1, 3, 4 and 5. The next, everything here, if this is 0, 1, it's going to be greater than 3000, and repetition is allowed. So it means that we have 5 choices to make, because here can be 0, 1, 3, 4 or 5. Here can be 0, 1, 2. It can be anything because repetition is allowed. We're allowed to repeat. So we're left with 5 choices. So here is 5, here is 5, and the last number is 5. So all you need to do is just multiply everything. 3 times 5 times 5 times 5, and you get your answer for this. So 3 times 5 times 5 times 5 will be 375. So that is the number of ways, how many times you can interchange them, and then the numbers, the digits will always be, the 4-digit numbers will always be greater than 3000, like this, when repetition is allowed. So what about if there's no repetition? Let's try if there is repetition is not allowed, so you can see things more clearly. So if this is still not lucid, you get exactly the concept of this. So now this question now says repetition is not allowed. So we have, in how many ways can 4-digit numbers greater than 3000? So let's assume these are 4-digit numbers, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So for this one, you can have 3001. So you can have 3001, you can have 3001, 3002, 3500, 3400 till, let's say, 4000. So you can have now 4000, let's say 4001, 4000, like that, to 5000, like that. So that means this first number, for it to be greater than 3000, this first number has to be either 3, 4 or 5, right? So that's why, so this here we have 3 choices. Like this, we'll have 3 choices, 3, 4 and 5. So that is why the first number is like that. I'm sure it's clear by now. Now we have 3 choices. Now we've picked 3 choices. Now what are we left with? We're left with 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now we've selected any of our choices. Let's assume 3. Now what are you left with? We're left with just 1, 2, 3, 4. We're left with just 4 choices left to pick from. So this number here can either be 1, 2, 3. It can't be 3 again. It can't be any one of, but let's assume we pick 3. It can only be 1, 2, skip this one, 4 and 5, because there's no repetition allowed. So that's why we're left with just 4. Now the next one. So now we've already picked again, and what are we left? We're left with just 3 possibilities. So this third number can either be 0, 4, or 5. So we have 3 possibilities. So that's 3. And once you do that, then you are left with just 2 possibilities. So I'm just assuming here, I'm just dotting them to tell you that they have been picked. So it might not be 0, you might have picked 4. So if you pick 4 or 5, whatever number you pick, just dot it. So now you're left with how many possibilities? Just 2. So the last one here, you can pick 4. This last number here can be 4 or 5. But whatever number you pick, you are just left with 2 possibilities. You are left with 2 possibilities, like 2 possibilities, and that's all for the 4. So you just multiply 3 times 4 times 3 times 2. Just multiply them, and then you get, it's like permutation. So once you do that, you have 72 here. So you can see that it's like permutation. So you have 3 here and then 4 factorial. So 3 times 4 factorial, which is 4 times 3 times 2. Like that. So which is 72 ways when there's no repetition allowed. But when there is no repetition, you get 375 when there's repetition. So when there's repetition, you get this, and when there's no repetition, there are 72 ways. But when there's no repetition, you get 375 ways.